Here comes the countdown.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Olde World Tech Fridays.
Good evening, folks.
How is everyone this evening?
Fantastic.
I'm doing great. I came here to see Frank's new new studio.
That's right.
And to show off my new Garth hair.
Oh, nice.
I love it.
I've been working on it all day.
Love it. So, I got the flooring finished today.
Neat.
And the trim. And I put up one of the two lights on the ceiling. It's suspended from the ceiling there.
Nice.
And then desk set up, and I got a bunch more furniture over there to put together.
I like your heater.
What's that?
I like your heater.
Oh, yeah. I shut the one off on the other side because I have so much junk over there that I didn't want to catch anything on fire, so I just put the one over there.
I like your signage.
Pretty chill. Yeah, the Olde World Tech Fridays. And the custom painted Proto Jedi one.
Yeah,
nice. And you have some. We're here to see the tapestries.
Tapestries.
Oh, hang on.
If you are Scottish law, then I am Mickey Mouse.
I picked up some stuff to hang on the walls. One of them being this Fallout quilt.
Oh, that's neat.
Somebody took and made the quilt using some Fallout t-shirts.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Not to be confused with Fallout Boy. This is the Fallout video game.
Yes. Yeah, I was going to say. It's...
So, yeah, it's coming along. I'm hoping to get some more furniture put together tomorrow to kind of get rid of a little bit of the echo in here, because right now it's just a big room.
Big, full enough to empty.
That's right. But yeah, it's finally getting there. It actually looks like something now.
I love it.
It's great. Can't wait to see it finished, and I can't wait to see it full of more things. And
there'll be a lot more stuff coming in the next week or so. Well, the whole idea is to keep this one clean and nice to stream from or record videos or whatever. So there's going to be some bookcases and stuff in here with some stuff displayed, and there's an entertainment center and a TV going on that other far wall for video game stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So basically, Frank, what you're saying is when your wife kicks you out of the house, you'll have somewhere to stay.
Exactly.
Perfect. And you want him to go sleep with the cows.
And he'll have to make the bed. Or it'll be a Murphy bed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Murphy bed's a good idea.
I was just thinking a bunch of broken up IKEA boxes and that Fallout blanket over them.
Sure, there's a lot of IKEA boxes. That's absolutely true. So,
IKEA has been getting your money this week. And yes.
How many of you have slept under your desk at work?
I just sleep on the couch. It's in my office.
Oh, well, this was a long time ago. And
all I can think of is, do you remember the movie Grandma's Boy?
Yes.
He wakes up underneath the desk. She's looking for him. He's like, not here.
Yeah.
He's sleeping under the desk.
Which is a classic Seinfeld reference, I suppose, where George builds the sleeping nook under the desk, and they think it's Steinbeck thinks it's a bomb.
Oh no!
What's the largest joystick you've seen? Because I got this Amiga joystick, and this thing is ginormous.
Yeah, that's something else.
Does that replace the Amiga?
Apparently, I was like, "Holy crap!" When it came in the mail, I was like, "This is large."
Well, did they not sell an Atari console, like one of those flashback consoles that was a giant joystick that actually functioned?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the whole premise of this one was it was supposed to be arcade-like, which it's got that look and feel, like to a reminiscent arcade cabinet.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, who do we have in the chat? Who would like to go and name some names in the chat for us?
I'll name some names.
Yeah, who's in the chat? Let's see what's up.
Let's see. Sleepy Malibu is here.
Hey, Sloopy.
Jack 68K. I386. Francois. CDI. Rudy's Retro Intel.
Hey, Rudy.
The Macintosh Librarian. Or Librarian, if it's Trina here.
Yeah,
Curtis is here. iMark is here. Joe from Joe's Computer Museum is here. Retrotech or Die. And Jeremy's Vintage Hillbilly Shack.
Nice.
Hey, everybody.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Guys and gals, I should say. Guys and dolls. Sorry.
So, taking a quick poll, who did not see any of the highlights from CES?
Me
Ron, you haven't either?
going on upstairs at CES.
Yeah.
Ron was walking. You know that your grandparents would tell you the story about I walked both ways uphill. To get to school.
That's right.
That's right.
The snow, up a hill, both ways.
Mhm.
If you didn't see Ron's short about walking in snow, go watch it.
It was pretty it was pretty deep.
Yeah.
And it's deeper now.
Yeah, I laugh because we usually have a lot of snow at this time of the year. We have none, and where Ron is, he had way more than we.
Yeah.
We have some today, but it has been off and on this season.
Oh, it's been nasty this week here. I mean, it's windy.
New York State got just
Holy
slammed.
They can keep it.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said, you guys can have that. Keep it. I guess we would be remiss if we didn't, also send our sympathies and best wishes to all those in California fighting the wildfires. I know that we just sent down a bunch of water bombers from my province and from my country, so pretty proud about that.
Are those things drone proof? Because
one of them is not. One of them actually hit a drone already and blew a hole in the wing.
Wow.
So we do actually have one Canadian water bomber that is out of commission at the moment.
It put a large hole in the side of the craft.
Yeah. Not to get political, but this is what friends do for each other when we're in time of need.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. This is why we need to be Canada and you need to be the United States.
Agree. As soon as you annex Michigan, I'll be ready.
Yeah.
You will be our Poland. We will look at you fondly.
Poor stepchild.
But yeah, no, we're sending our deepest sympathies and support and love and best wishes and good vibes and all the buzzword catchphrases that we can send. If you haven't or you have the means to help out financially, there are a lot of really good charities that are working on the ground to help people, especially those displaced. There's also a couple of really good charities helping the animals because a lot of people during these type of issues forget about all the house pets that are left behind, which is a big thing for me. Always gets me right in the feels. So yeah, if you have the needs or have the needs and want to help, feel free to go find. There's lots of charities offering support. Like I said, on the ground now.
I know there's a lot of people on the ground that are just neighbors helping neighbors and people that are
and Steve Gutenberg.
I was just about to say that I saw where it was like he was there and he was telling people, he was like, you just leave your keys in your car so that way that we can move your vehicles and get stuff out of the way. And the guy was like, and you are? And he's like, I'm Steve Gutenberg.
Yeah.
I was like,
but
dang.
I got a feeling that the guy driving that D5 dozer pushing those cars out of the way is having like a muffler shop owner experience, like Killdozer, right?
Oh,
really enjoying pushing those cars out of the way.
That's right.
Oh, speaking of Canada too, one of the people who lost their house was Eugene Levy.
Oh
wow.
Yeah.
Huge fan of Eugene Levy. Dan Levy too, his son.
Dan is a national treasure.
Yep, both.
Dan is my spirit animal. I feel like if you ever watch Schitt's Creek,
I have.
His character is my spirit animal.
I love that show. But the two of them are really funny people, and I know who was it? Another person, Dick Van Dyke. They actually had to take him out of his yard because he was out with a water hose trying to.
Out of curiosity, was he in the chimney or cleaning the chimney?
Or he's just out there dancing in the yard.
Just dancing in the yard.
99 years old or whatever.
Yeah, but they had to actually pick him up and take him out of the yard, to make him leave. Because it was pretty dangerous, I guess.
Then they realized he was just a statue in the yard.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a week.
Yeah,
it has been.
It has definitely been. So sending our best wishes to all those affected, and hopefully they get it under control. That's the big thing. Yeah. So I've also watched some footage of some amazing water bombers action. Some of those planes, they nearly stall when they're about to drop the load of
Mhm.
chemical or water, and there was one. It was a Boeing, some sort of Boeing jet, doing some crazy maneuvers several feet from the ground. I'm going to say it wasn't even hundreds of feet. This was 20 to 30 feet off the ground, and not stalling these things, trying not to hit the mountains in the area. Amazing, like the skill is just incredible.
It's
absolutely
nuts.
incredible, and so they are true heroes. So anyway, what shall we talk about this evening, gentlemen? Is there anything anybody has? I know Frank wants to bring back one of our more treasured, excellent segments that we used to do years ago. And I believe, Frank, if you wish to go ahead and start.
So one of the things I want to talk about was something from this day in history back. We used to do those on the show for quite a while, but we actually cycled through all of them and we're just repeating them after a certain point. But one of them is applicable this week because January 10th, 2006, 7 months after announcing that Macintosh computers will transition from PowerPC to Intel, the first Apple computers to ship with Intel processors were released, which was the Intel-based iMac and MacBook Pro models. And that was 2006.
So 19 years ago.
Yeah. And then it was just recently, starting in 2000 and finally ended in 2023, where they transitioned all of their line from Intel Macs to Apple Silicon. Which ended their 15-year partnership with Intel. And the reason I bring that up is because now I didn't see really Intel had anything at CES. I knew Ryan and I were talking about it before the show, and he mentioned about a couple things that they had. But really, the biggest sticker for me on this CES was AMD. AMD had sweeping, product lineup across the board. It was absolutely nuts, the stuff they came out with. And what made me think about Apple dumping Intel and going to their own process was because it was announced at CES as well that Dell is finally offering AMD business machines now.
The first time.
Yeah, first time.
I think it's actually the first time since AMD used to make the 286 clone, whatever, like the official license.
It has literally been that long since Dell has had any AMD.
For a business machine. They offer consumer machines.
Sure, for home machine,
yeah.
But their business lineup has been Intel or nothing. Like, you stick what you get or nothing. But I think it's interesting.
Michael Dell was very much in bed with Intel. There's no
but I think it's funny that they finally are now slowly switching, it seems, to Intel, at least for the business machines. I'm interested to see because AMD hasn't had anything processor-wise, that no real advancements in a long time, like super small incremental changes, but nothing major, like AMD or even Apple Silicon, and all the new stuff that they've come out with. Intel really has been behind the ball. And I just think it's interesting whether this is going to be just like a one and done thing, or if they're going to slowly start transitioning off of Intel at some point in the near future as well, because
I don't know.
A lot of stuff is going to AMD chips, or not AMD, but ARM, processing too.
I was going to say x86 we're at the end of the road for x86.
Yeah, but I think x86 is going to be around for at least another 10 years. In certain, but it's going to become the Swiss. It's instead of being the Swiss Army knife, it's going to be the bespoke specific application.
But what I'm wondering is if this transition, it doesn't seem like a big deal to a lot of people, but this transition of adding AMD lineup to Dell, if this is literally just the fulcrum that's going to tip it to where people start going away from Intel slowly, like Apple did. I just think it's interesting.
The big thing for Apple, or the big thing for Intel that I'm impressed with, is the fact, and I think this is what's going to mostly save them for the next few years, is their GPUs. They're currently offering a mid-range, we'll say quality GPU for the price of what would be an entry GPU on any of the other two platforms.
Yeah.
Right? The Battle Mage, new Battle Mage cards are like $250, $260 US, and they are rivaling, 3060s, 30 or 4060s, I guess.
Yeah.
And that sort of era of graphic cards. So I mean, I wouldn't knock Intel out completely. The other thing about Intel is they're moving farther up the chain. I think they're going to become a manufacturer for everybody else.
Mhm.
They may step back from what they're doing, or they may retool from what they're doing, but they will always make processors, or they will always make silicon.
I could see them spinning their graphics onto a whole different company. And
Sure, but I could see them also making Qualcomm chips because Qualcomm gets overrun and they need a new plant in Israel.
They do great value of processors.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I needed a Quate brand video card. Thanks.
Yeah.
Can I get some Kirkland RAM?
Yeah, where's the Great West or Great Life?
Yeah, can I get great value?
Can I get an RC Cola graphics card, please?
King Vitamin.
Yeah.
King
I guess
hard drives.
I mean, I can see this really pushing the envelope on moving to other platforms because the migration's been happening.
The big thing has been the translation layer. You know, the big thing that made silicon, Apple Silicon, so good was the fact that the translation layer from x86 to Apple Silicon, just worked flawlessly. There was very little. I've heard very little reports of people saying, "Well, that app doesn't work anymore." You know, there was a lot of really good work done, and Microsoft, to their credit, has done a fair bit of work now making the Windows equivalent translation layer work properly.
Yeah.
They have a much bigger pool to work with, so they're obviously going to have much more growing pains than, say, Apple will. But I think, you know, it is where it's going. The power consumption is way less on ARM. The battery life is way more. Obviously, they go hand in hand. You know, and then the players. If you look at who owns the rights to x86, you know, for the most part, it's Intel and AMD, and there's a couple other players, but they're not very big. But ARM is different. ARM has many players. So, you know, and again, I don't discount Intel coming out with their own version or flavor of ARM. So,
Absolutely.
Well, my burning question about this: will
There's a
you
cream
still
for
be
that.
able to fry an egg on an AMD processor?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're lucky.
Yeah, you just run Prime 95 in about 7,000 instances, and you can fry your egg.
So, switching gears a little bit here, another thing that AMD released at CES was their supercomputer.
Yes, little tiny,
super tiny, like one of those Intel NUCs almost. Size, and it's absolutely astronomical the things that they can do. It's crazy. Like I said, AMD pretty much stole the show. Like they're the one that had the most interesting stuff that came out this year.
The only thing they didn't do, which has been sort of the bane of most people's existence when it comes to graphics, is they talked very little about their actual graphics lineup and any of the benchmarks, because I think they were not ready, or they were not able to compete with the new NVIDIA lineup.
Well, yeah,
the new NVIDIA lineup just knocks everything out of the park.
If you're going to build a new computer now,
you're going Team Green.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to probably buy one of the new AMD chips that they just came out with for your processor. Get some type of Asus ROG Strix motherboard, and then you're going to get an NVIDIA card. Like it's that's going to be your best setup.
But like I recently bought a bunch of AM4, as we're aware of, the last generation AMD socket is being retired. It's guaranteed support until 2026, I think 2027. But they basically retired. They've gone AM5 now, which is the first AMD chip that doesn't have pins on it. It's the opposite. It's the pins are on the board and the pads are on the chip, which is kind of neat because it's the first time they've ever done that. Really great because you don't damage the processor. Terribly easy to destroy your motherboard, though.
Yes.
You are one micro chamois away from destroying your motherboard. Ask me how I know. But yeah, so I recently bought a bunch of AM4 machines that we're building in one of my classes. And, you know, for less than $500, we built a complete computer with a fancy CPU cooler and a nice case with glass side, and it's all white. It looks good. It's aesthetically pleasing. But it's a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's a 16-core AMD CPU with onboard graphics that don't disappoint. Like they're not going to play tier A games, top tier games, but they play Fortnite, they play Minecraft. They play, you know, CS:GO or CS2 now. Good enough, you know. So it's amazing how powerful cheap computing has become.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like compared to where we were. And I remember watching a video recently, I think it was a Computer Chronicles talking about the PC buying for 1995, I think it was.
Yeah.
Talking about the gaming PC of 1995 was $3,500. It was built by Phoenix Computers.
Yeah.
And I remember it was like 4 megs of video memory.
Mm-hmm.
And it had an advanced 3D graphics card, but it was one of the early pass-through 3D graphics card where you still had to have the 2D and the 3D. And it was, you know, 166, I think, but you could option it with a 200 megahertz Pentium, right?
Yeah.
And it had 64 or 32 megs of RAM, right? And it was $3,500. You think about the computer you could buy today for $3,500.
Oh yeah, I'd be a monster.
Right, and it's nowhere, and so like even the metrics don't. It's not like you're buying a base model machine for $3,500 today. You're not even buying you're buying even an outlandish gaming machine for $3,500, right? You could do 1,000 and still be leagues ahead of most machines for gaming. So it's pretty cool how far we've come. And like Rudy says, most people never use all the power of their PC, and it's true. Which I think, Joe,
I think that's Rudy just telling on himself.
Yeah,
he was like, "Ron, did you play that new game?" And it was like Minesweeper.
Yeah. I like Joe's $3,500 shares that lost a new Mac.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it, it's not hard to drop some money. I had a talk with some of my students today about that. They were asking me, what kind of gaming computer should I buy? Should I buy a pre-built or should I build it? And I said, well, there's a line in the sand where you will get more bang for your buck building it yourself than you will having somebody else build it. And a lot of the high-end gaming machines are, in my mind, are terribly overpriced. For when you actually look at the breakdown of the components, you go, it's like $1,000 more than if I just did it myself. Yeah. So sometimes it pays to still assemble your own machine, but sometimes like you said, it's better off to buy a Dell. Now going back to Dell, we'll touch base quickly on Dell again. Dell decided to get rid of their scary naming conventions and make things easier for the people. And by easier, I mean they stole the naming convention that Apple and somewhat Intel and a few other people have started using, which is they've gotten rid of the Optiplex, they've gotten rid of the Inspiron, they've gotten rid of the XPS and sort of made it a much easier layout. So basically, if it's designed for play, school, and work, it's going to be called a Dell. Dude, you're getting a Dell.
Yes.
If it's for work, design, or professional grade productivity, you're getting a Dell Pro.
Okay.
And if it's designed for maximum performance and rendering of things, you're getting a Dell Pro Max.
It's called an Alienware.
Right. But it's about 25% less because it doesn't have a weird alien logo on the front of it.
Oh.
I always found that funny. I always tell people are like, should I buy an Alienware? I'm like, no, buy the equivalent XPS. It's like $2,000 cheaper.
Right.
Speaking of building your own computer, who remembers Tiger Direct?
Oh, I used to use Tiger Direct all the time. That was fantastic.
Yep. And I can remember one of the first computers I built from scratch. I bought the Cheap Tech cases were super popular at the time. They were like tall, slender, had the little door that opens. You know?
And every part of it was trying to slice your wrist open.
Yes. Oh yeah, many of the scars on my hands are.
Oh yeah, I've got scars on my arms, hands. Yeah.
Well, it's funny. We were building those computers in my grade 9 class this week, and I said to the kids, I passed one of them the IO shield, which was in like a plastic case, like a plastic protective wrapper. I'm like, careful with that, it'll cut you. And they were like, really? I'm like, yes, trust me, it will cut you.
Yes, the IO shield is what the box cutters, the factories they're made in.
Yeah, that's what they use
to actually cut the box.
Now, you see, I always thought they just put a really nice handle on it and sold it on late night television as one of those. It can chop, it can dice, it can slice.
Rudy's right. Alienware was awesome before Dell built them. Yes,
1,000%.
Yes,
it's funny.
I agree.
I have a pre-Dell Alienware computer, and I have a post-Dell Alienware computer, and it's chalk and cheese.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, even performance issues. Jeez, a whiz. Freaking overheating and everything
But
else.
also, Alienware was such a young and exciting company. They took risks. They're like, hey, we should water cool something before anybody else does. Yeah, why not? Let's do it, right? And it was like, buy some plumbing from the hardware store, stick it together. Maybe it'll leak, maybe it won't, right? But Dell is like, no, the accountant said we can't use this particular grommet because it costs 0.13 cents more than this other grommet we already have.
Well, they should have been using carbon tetrachloride as a working fluid anyway.
Right. So. Now, I believe that is carcinogenic, but only in California.
Right.
Oh, no, pretty much everywhere.
That
liquid asbestos.
The new AMD Ryzen, what's the 9950X 3D was their top of the line one they're talking about.
Yep.
16 cores, 32 threads. Up to 5.7 gigahertz. The base frequency is 4.3 gigahertz. 170 watt power consumption. That's their new beefy one.
Have you noticed though that we've reached sort of, I don't want to say we've reached a plateau, but we've been hovering around the 5 gigahertz area for the better part of 10 years, right? Like I remember the first and second gen Core i9s, they could be boosted to close on. I think they were like 4.5 gigahertz. And if you liquid nitrogen them, you could get them close to 6. But it seems, I don't know if we've lost, maybe it's Moore's law, maybe it's a bit of the fact we can't get it down to the size of the dies any smaller. But it just seems, we've seemed to almost like stagnate a little bit. Because I felt like there for a while you were going from 1 gigahertz to 2 gigahertz. Seemed to be like every other week they were jumping in. Right?
Yeah.
I remember the first 1 gigahertz computer a friend of mine bought. You can't make them faster due to physics. Damn your physics. I substitute my own.
Yeah.
It's literally physical quantum. Impossible to make gates switch faster at room temperature. Okay. So we'll just do it on the moon where it's colder.
Yeah.
We'll have blackjack. It'll be fun.
We'll just lower the room temperature. It'll be
so what you're saying is, so gamers out there, what Joe is saying is global warming is ruining your ability to play Fortnite.
Yes.
You heard it here first. All right. So was there anything else, Frank? We seem to have gone a little sideways there when it came to
see that new supercomputer that AMD announced, the little tiny one.
Yeah, the little Nook.
See, because they never said anything about price, which is always interesting. When they declined to comment on price, so I was curious if they posted anything yet, but it doesn't look like it. No. I'm just interested to see what entry level one is. Like, what's the cheapest one that they offer? How expensive is it? Is it the cost of a car?
I'm trying to remember the name of the company, and I can't. They're a company that they were like crowdsourced. They make small computers. They make laptops. It's something. Is it Frameless or Frame?
Oh yeah, that Framework.
No, not Framework. That's the one Linus is invested in. This one is anyway. They build small computers. I mean, they came out with 2 new products at CES. One of them is an AMD powered Apple Mac Mini sort of like equivalent. But it's way cooler. It's got 2 10 gig SFP ports on the back of it. It's got a 5 gig regular Ethernet port. It'll take an internal 16 times graphics card if you can find one that fits. NVIDIA does make one that fits. Anyway, very cool. The big thing was the price point, starting at $699 for this thing that was basically would blow the Mac Mini out of the water. So it was kind of cool, especially if you live in the Windows world and you want to stay in the Windows world. It was a great option. What was really cool though was the NAS that they had. So they've taken all that technology they made with this mini computer, this and made it into a network access storage device. No operating system on it, but it can take up to 8 drives, 4 in the 4 standard drive bays, and then 2 underneath, and then 2 SSDs on board, or 2 NVMe, SSDs on board. What was really cool about it was super fast, and it had a built-in GPU specifically for Plex encoding. So that was pretty cool. I was like, oh, that's pretty neat.
That is pretty cool.
That they're actually thinking someone who was having a home NAS would want a GPU on their home NAS specifically for things like Plex encoding and possibly other things, but it was kind of neat. It supports up to 100 or 300 terabytes of storage across all the drives, which is kind of cool.
It is cool.
Seagate just dropped a 32 terabyte hard drive at CES.
I saw
They didn't physically drop it. They announced it. Sorry,
That's good.
new hard drive that etches with lasers, hot lasers.
Now, were they sharks with lasers?
Yeah.
More sharks with lasers. But I just thought that was interesting. They used some type of hot laser etching.
Hot laser etching.
Yeah, because they're able to record more to a single platter. Almost double the amount that they can
More
record.
density.
Platter. Yeah. Yeah, and then there was another. Who was it? Was it Western Digital that just came out with a whole new one altogether? A 32 terabyte drive.
Well, like I said, it was 32 terabytes of what Seagate was showing around. A fun little fact. Again, thanks to our friends over at Linus Tech Tips. useserverparts.com, I think is the name of the name of the website. They have refurbished Seagate drives. Very, very inexpensive, and they pass tests. So I actually ordered a couple of new spinning disks for my Plex server.
Could you share the link to that?
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it here.
Yeah, Western Digital are sampling 32 terabyte SMR drives. It's some type of shingling magnetic recording. Magnetic recording.
There's a vaccination for that.
Interesting. So yeah, storage. The only thing that I've seen as far as storage was more geared to data centers.
Nokia and all them had their SSDs and stuff that they were showing off, as they always do. But yeah, it seems like I don't know. CES seems like it's all about being ridiculous now. It's almost like, and again, I know it's very similar. It's almost like what's the car show? SEMA.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's like the big crazy stuff gets the most press, and so it seems like less and less about CES is just like average computer, average people. It's hey, how big of a television can we fit through the loading door?
Yeah.
Right. Which, to answer the question, is 165 inches now.
Wow. Something I've never been to CES. I do know people that have been to CES, and yeah, I think these events eventually collapse under their own weight just because they lose focus. They forget what people originally came to those things. They came to be wowed a little bit, but then they also wanted to be like, this isn't just supposed to strictly be a, how far can we push things? It's also supposed to be, here's some real stuff you could have at your house. It's not everything is an episode of Beyond 2000. It's supposed to be like, oh yeah, it's like, oh, it's the new, for the 15th year in a row, Mom announces the future of robots, kind of thing. But there was a show that was in Chicago. It was different places, but the Comdex.
Yes.
Did you anybody here ever go to Comdex?
I never went, but I do remember it.
Yeah, I went to Comdex several times, and that was a fun show. And it wrapped up in 2003. It's because they ate their own tail, like many things like that. But that was a really fun show, and you could actually go in there and see real things that people were showing off, and it would be like, here's something you can get in 6 months. It'll be ready to go. It'll be like the next big thing. And I saw and a lot of that was people were like, there were PC builders, but there were also people that were it was just like, oh no, here's like a software thing or whatever. And it was a fun show, and it was neat, but it was more down to earth in a way. So anyway, that's what I got.
Yeah, one of the ones that's still sort of, and I'm not sure if it's still going on, is PAX. The PAX show.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's more related to gaming than anything, but it tends to be a little bit more down to earth and not so ridiculous because, again, at the end of the day, you can show off all the $2,000 and $3,000 graphics cards you want, but most people are not going to buy those.
Yeah.
Right. So you need to be able to see some of the $500, $600 to $1,000 options. Yeah, Penny Arcade Expo. The guys who run it are douchebags. Yeah, I remember Penny Arcade. Their comic was pretty pretty terrible.
I was gonna say if that show ever shut down, it'd be a real loss. .gif.
They're like the guys from South Park, but like the evil Bizarro World version. Right? I always thought they were often anyway. Yeah, the PAX was the PAX still exists. Yeah, so yeah, that was the Penny Arcade Expo. And other people we know have tried to start expos. I mean, LTX was a thing that lasted a year. Yep.
They might bring it back, but I think that they bit off. They bit off more than they could chew. You're trying to make this like such a thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like
you're trying to be everything for everybody, and it's not.
And more than that is the guy that runs your entire organization is like has the focus of like a 3-year-old child, and so it was, and no one can tell him no. So the idea was that you don't understand, when you get here there has to be an activity that is going on and it has to like fit this thing and you've got to be able to do. That is not how this shit works at all.
No,
it is like you go there and it's the social part of it. It's a make your own fun.
Yeah, it's a hurry up and wait.
We'll be like, hey, you want to walk around? Let's just go and look at some stuff and play around with exhibits.
Well, that's why I liked VCF Midwest. There was no sense of urgency.
Yes,
I've been to a lot of trade shows where it's like a chicken with its head cut off.
Yeah,
and they're not enjoyable. But
no,
VCF was just kind of like, hey, you want to go look at the free pile? Sure.
Yeah,
hey, Eric, I found you this book on Unix. I figured you would like.
Always.
So the bottom line is that 3 of the 4 of the hosts of Olde World Tech Fridays have been to VCF Midwest. 1 hasn't, and we're going to change that this year.
Yeah, Frank, you'll have to.
Frank, we're kidnapping him.
What happened?
Some vacay in September, and you'll have to.
The first 2 weeks of September.
Yeah,
we're going to be we're going to put you in the back of a van and drive you with a cover over your head to some undisclosed location, which happens to be Schaumburg, Chicago. Well, I don't know if they're having the same place. Yeah,
I don't know. We'll see. I sure hope that they go back a second year at that location. I really liked it. I think it was really good.
I feel like they might be able to take the entire floor.
Might be able to.
So we don't have to have a wedding making all sorts of noises.
Well, that was the different part of it. It's we if the wedding hadn't been there, we could have went in there.
Yeah.
And that would have been just fine. It would have been more of a pain in the butt, load in, load out. But
yeah.
And I was just thinking, even for the talks, like some of the talks were pretty full.
Yeah.
And that little bit more space, even if it was only slightly more, in the talk area, would have been pretty fun.
Yeah, I think so too.
Right. But anyway, we're excited. I'm definitely going back. I've already booked the time off with work. I've kind of given them an idea of roughly the estimated time. So I'm pretty excited. I'm excited to see my friends again, which was honestly the best part. I could care less about the computers. It was more about the people, which I know seems weird.
Yeah.
But it's ultimately about the computers.
Yeah.
You can see 2,000 Macintosh computers in a pile. They're just computers.
Big pile.
It's a big pile.
Yeah.
Although the guy remember the guy next to Sean, Action Retro's table, just next to where we were? He had all those computers. By the end of the show, there wasn't that much left. Like, he moved a fair number of those machines.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right? Like, going towards the end, it's Joe, I'm not weird.
Yeah.
Can we get that on a t-shirt for you, Joe, that you wear to the next convention?
Yeah, it's fun. Unloaded quite a bit of stuff, that's for sure.
Yeah. And it was exciting to meet that guy who used to own the Apple store. The guy that Sean bought all the stuff, or Steve bought all that documentation off of.
Yeah.
I spent most of my money there.
Yeah.
I honestly, knock on wood, I didn't buy very much. Again, it was like, I guess it was some level of undiagnosed ADHD. I'm not sure how, like, as soon as I got in, I was overstimulated. It was just like, oh, look at this, look at that, look at this.
Yeah.
and you
there
didn't
was a lot
spend
of
time stopping and actually looking at what you could buy.
Jack on Nightmare Before Christmas when he gets to
Yes.
Christmas Town.
What's this?
What's this?
There's something in the air. What's this?
Exactly.
Anyway, so we don't get totally copyright striked, although we don't really care about that. I guess I wanted to just briefly talk today about something cool that's happening in the retro world that I've noticed over the last few months, especially if you follow any sort of Instagram or TikTok. Is a lot of young Gen Zers, they're Gen Zers, right, or whatever the new ones are called, the new generation, are falling in love with digital cameras.
Yeah,
and it's making me feel old, and I'm uncomfortable with it. Yes, Gen Alphas. Thank you, Mark. As a member of the Gen Alpha, Mark would know. But getting very excited about digital cameras. So
old ones,
ones, specifically like early 2000s. You know, the old Mavicas, the old original cheap HP point and shoots. Like, I've seen them show up at events, and I've seen people using old cameras now out and about, and it seems very strange to me. I like Jack 68K. Show them a quick take 100.
Yeah.
We're not trying to scare them away.
Camera have the save icon. I don't get it.
Yeah, no, that's a Mavica.
Yeah.
So it just seems like it's a real. Oh, see, there you go. Gut Bomb's daughter begged for and got a Polaroid camera. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
My daughter
actually,
has an SX70.
My niece got a camera as well, but it's neat because it's a Polaroid. It prints, but then it also has an SD card. So it keeps a digital copy, and then also prints.
That's
prints like a sticker copy version.
Yeah.
All right, some sort of one of the Instapix cameras. Anyway, I thought that was pretty cool.
We need to restore the SX70 that I got my daughter, but because the focus is fixed, it's frozen.
Speaking of Mavica,
this is the last camera I got.
Yeah, I have one of those too.
I have not opened mine.
It's on my desk at work.
I haven't opened it. The seal is still intact.
Mine is
probably the last one with a sealed front.
That's probably true. Yeah, I still left the seal on there. I was like, I'm not opening it.
For those who don't know, Eric found. How did you find it again? Was it a Facebook ad?
It was Marketplace. A guy had. I've got a bunch of cameras. Please take them. Buy them from me. And I waited until his price got down from stupid to I should go over there and grab one.
Yeah.
And then I found out he had 8 of them.
And a lot of them were new in box, correct?
They were all but one was sealed. He had one he had opened up so he could take pictures of what was in it and all that.
Gotcha.
Didn't you have to dig through his attic or something to get the rest of them?
They were in his tool barn up on the loft area, and he couldn't get up there. He was a little bit more senior than me. And I'm like, if you want me to sign a piece of paper that says you're not responsible if I fall, I'll do that. But I'll get it. He said, just go ahead and use the ladder. It was a little precarious, but I got up there and I'm like, how many did you say you had? He says, like 4 or 5. I'm like, you have 8.
Yeah.
And then I remember you sent a message out, I think it was on Discord. You were like, hey, I found these cameras. Is anybody interested? I was like, yes, please.
Yeah. This is a whole megapixel.
Broke.
Megapixel. Yeah. That's a big deal.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. What I found funny is the battery that was used by you got some horns there, Ron?
No, I'm showing because I have like
your Mavicas. Yes.
I got my Mavicas up here on the shelf, but I have the original, which is a fixed focus camera that uses the floppy. I've got that, and then I have the first revision, which has a zoom, and then I've got the 1.6 megapixel version, and then the 2 megapixel version, the last 2 that use the floppy.
Right. Yeah. Now, do you have any of them that use the CD-ROM?
No, I didn't collect any of that because I'm just
Steve has one of those.
Yeah, Steve does have one. Yeah.
If you'll notice on the box here, it's not just XXX; it's 6X, double XXX.
It's double porn.
Right.
Something else to know, y'all, is that if you
it's got stamina.
If you plug a USB cable into your camera
This is a good.
and into the machine.
Yeah.
You have a 4x floppy drive.
It's the fastest floppy
your-
drive
Oh, no kidding.
for your
You
PC.
also have a webcam.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is cool. I'm still not going to open it.
One of the things I found really interesting was Sony used that battery type for years.
They
I mean,
still,
years.
you can
And,
still,
I was able to find 2 replacement batteries plus a new charger on Amazon. I think it cost me $20.
You know what's funny is this grooved battery look of this battery is the same as the Ring doorbells and the Ring cameras.
It's probably the same battery. They probably just bought the patent, or there's probably no patent on it anymore, and they just took it.
That's too.
Did you guys happen to watch Colin's video from today from This Does Not Compute? He was interviewing the guy who was sort of the I guess the what do you call it, media director or sales director of the PowerBook 5300C.
Oh, no kidding.
Anyway, it was really interesting. But one of the things that happened with that was they, because we were talking about Sony, and that's what it reminded me of. Sony made the batteries for it. They made the first sort of lithium-ion batteries for it, and they all exploded. So they actually had one explode on the production line and one explode at one of the engineers' houses. And Sony hung up on him when he called to complain that they exploded. And anyway, through the jigs and the reels, there were no lawsuits or anything. But to his best knowledge, Apple didn't really pay for monitors or screens or batteries or power supplies for many years after this incident.
Yeah,
there's some corporate agreements that occurred because of it, and actually the same factory that made the batteries in Japan actually ended up burning down several months later. Cool fact about Sony.
I saw an unrelated thing. Speaking of factory in China burning down, I saw this funny thing. It said a Temu factory warehouse in China caught fire. Value $56 US. Yeah.
That's funny. Actually, speaking of China, we'll talk about China a little bit because they had a bunch of stuff at CES. One of their electric supercar manufacturers now has a car that can jump over potholes. Not only can it jump over potholes, it can do it at speed. We are so close to having the Inspector Gadget police car. We are like that far from having it.
So for Michigan, it would have to be also
jump over
be able to find the road between all the potholes.
Now, what Ryan neglected to say at the end of that is this is the St. Clair Model C5. Nothing new. It's the C5.
But actually, it can jump over potholes and obstacles, doing over 100 kilometers an hour.
No kidding. Interesting.
It's 60 miles an hour for you.
It's a hovercraft.
Yeah. Well, it would have to be in Michigan with your roads.
Yeah.
It'd jump somewhere near the beginning of the state and end up somewhere in Canada.
Yeah, you'd fly to your location.
Yeah.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Yes,
that's right.
Fun. But yeah, so Eric, you had something you wanted to discuss today, or you had mentioned in our chat something that's pretty cool that's happening lately that I'm excited about. I don't know about anybody else. I know that Frank seems to be pretty excited there with all his wood grain.
I'm on the fence about it.
You're on the fence about it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but is it a natural wood fence, Ron?
It's chain link.
Chain link. Oh.
Don't sit too long on that. That's how you get piles.
Yeah.
Where's that concrete?
I'm trying to find my desktop screen. Here we go. Apparently, beige is back.
Beige is back, baby.
Yes. So expect your next, computer to be beige.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's funny you should mention that because is it Leon Lee just came out with a new beige case?
Yes, it's because it was the April Fool's joke last year. So
yeah, people were like, "I want that."
Yeah, they're like, "Yeah, I'll take one of those."
So here are your, beige clothing outfits. Although these are jeans, I don't get how that works. But
I think the top is beige.
Yeah, and your beige couch. This looks like the couch that I had 40 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's because now it's considered retro and chic.
I guess
they bought it at a secondhand store.
Anyway, but apparently, it's supposed to be calming and
Well,
all that.
you say that, but we've all seen the video of that guy in the cubicle beat the living crap out of his monitor with a beige keyboard.
Yeah.
There was a lot of beige in that cubicle, and
Yeah.
he did not seem happy.
I think it was the inside of the computer that upset him.
Yeah.
I think it was the person on the phone that upset him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've noticed, like I said, we were talking beforehand about some of the stuff I've seen on Instagram and Facebook during the holidays. But there was a lot of beige in Christmas decorations this year. I noticed a lot of people were putting in, and honestly, I got to say, pretty bland Christmas decorations when your colors are brown, beige, and like a maroon.
If you get your tree early and don't water it, you'll have a beige tree.
Nice.
But yeah, so it's exciting. Everything is secular, right? Like, I made me feel old, but again, I'm going to talk about some of my students. They were singing some 90s music in class one day, and I had to ask them, how do you know this song? Like, oh, it's really popular now. I'm like, okay, because that was popular when I remember when that song came out. Like,
yeah.
And I'm like, I can't be this old yet. It seems like the trends, they be coming around a lot faster than previous.
Yeah.
Well,
right?
Think about it. This generation and the last, frankly, have had access to all of history on the internet.
Sure.
To go, listen to Edison's, wax
Lighthouse.
cylinders.
I can remember my grandparents buying me a set of encyclopedias.
Yeah.
And listen, your kitchen table was never more level.
Oh my gosh. Well, people used to sell them. I mean, they used to sell even door to door.
You do not, Frank, you do not know how many times, and it's kind of calmed down recently, but maybe 10 years ago, we would get a call to the school at least once a month. People looking to donate encyclopedias, and then us having to tell them, hey, we can't take them. Well, it's funny you should mention that, Retro Tech or Die, because I know for a fact there's a new special edition Ron Pog coming out.
Yes.
Now, what's fun?
Ron is back in Pog form.
Yeah,
I
King
can
Ron in Pog form.
Were popular when I was in elementary school. Yeah. And I just read an article recently that says the most expensive thing that people still collect is Pogs. Like a retro thing that people still collect is Pogs.
Well, I'll tell you what it's not. It's not Beanie Babies.
No, oh my god.
The bottom fell out of those things faster than they fell apart.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. The supply was way higher.
Yeah. So that Princess Diana Beanie Baby I got in that Mylar sheet is basically worth nothing at this point.
I mean, how many did you see at flea markets and yard sales after that? Like everybody had them.
Oh yeah,
Beanie Babies.
I think the best part was that there is a picture that was in some newspaper about this divorcing couple. That there's a pile of Beanie Babies on the floor in the courtroom, and they were just basically doing a draft to figure out I guess value of just I guess everybody loves something.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure I just don't see, like, when someone says something's collectible, like when something is sold as a collectible, it's not collectible.
Right.
I'm looking at you, Funko Pops. People love those things.
I'm looking at you, Bradford's Exchange.
I mean, it's these Star Wars collector plates will certainly appreciate in value.
How many Elvis Franklin does my grandmother need?
Your Franklin Mint collection.
Yes, your Franklin Mint.
Yeah, I think that nostalgia. Well, we're in a post-scarcity economy on a lot of that stuff because I think people have finally figured out that this crap was made the millions, and people had a collector mindset when we finally were in an economic situation to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So if you look at like old toys, what's the most valuable part of any old toy? The packaging.
Oh, the
packaging.
Because everybody threw it out. Now everybody they're clued in, and they keep all that stuff.
Yeah.
Baseball cards, that's another great thing, like the old tobacco cards, stuff like that. All that had value at one time, and the old stuff still does.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that your 1988 score or your 1990 upper deck,
Yeah.
there's one or two cards in that are worth money, and all the rest of it is just kindling.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, it's funny how all that kind of works out, and it kind of even to our own hobby. It's like there are certain things, like people. To give you an example, locally, there's a couple of computers for sale that I've seen and people want the moon for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I know for a fact there were 350,000 of these things made.
Yeah.
Right, or 400 million of these, or 4 million of these things made. It's like they're not rare, but people think because they're old, and
they must be
be rare. Right?
Yeah. That's like I love when people post, like I look at Facebook Marketplace a lot. There's a lot of people that you can go out on these Facebook groups where they'll be like, "Hey, I found this in my dad's attic, and what's it worth?"
Yeah.
And it's like, well, let's be honest, it's worth exactly nothing.
Yeah.
None of this stuff, all these machines, you see all these fancy computery doodads and Quadra 700s and stuff. It's not actually worth anything. It's because there's always somebody getting out of the hobby. There's always somebody that's just got this sitting somewhere. You can just go pick it up for free. If you don't have the time to wait around for for the universe to open up an opportunity or something, then you probably have to pay to get those things. But
it's funny because a lot of the people I've met that are new in the hobby, and maybe it's the millennial or the Gen Z or whatever alpha thing. I got to get it now. I got to get it now. So they're willing to spend these stupid amounts of money on stuff. And I'm like, I'm on the other hand, I just play the long game. I'm like, if I can't get it off the guy who's got it, I'm going to get it off his wife when he dies.
Yeah.
Like, just got to wait him out.
Go get your 18 window Volkswagen microbus, because the comedian guy crashed the market on those things or something.
Which, by the way, the one that he bought at Barrett Jackson was actually a fake.
Oh, nice.
It was an 18 window that was made out to be a 23 window.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he actually paid $250,000 for a fake VW bus. Anyway, I digress.
Womp womp.
Yeah.
It's okay. He's happy with it. He knew it wasn't real when he bought it. It kind of forced the market to be higher than it needs to be. Barrett Jackson does that. eBay does that. I mean, look at our own hobby. How many times they say, "Well, I'm selling it for what it sells on eBay," and then if I have to explain to another person about how eBay needs to make money and whatever you sell it for on eBay is not what you're going to get in your bank account.
Right.
Let's not mention the fact that if you don't already have an established eBay account, you're going to be waiting a month or more to get your money.
Right. And all of these picker shows and
Storage Wars and all these.
And those Goombas at that pawn shop.
Yeah.
It's
Pawn Stars.
Yeah. It's like,
I saw a thing recently on that the store's not even really open or anything anymore.
It's more of a tourist trap, and it's not as big as you think it is.
Yeah.
It's quite small.
They instead of having the actual appraisers and things now, I guess it's like a call thing. You call it in and they appraise it kind of virtually.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So I guess somebody.
I got somebody. I know somebody that knows about these dollar bills. I'm gonna get them. That's going to give you 65 cents. I'm just telling you, I would never go to a place like that to buy anything because it's it's what's your overhead.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, you're on the Strip in Vegas, so a lot.
More than anything, pawn shops are dead as a business model because I think that they've figured out the cheap consumer credit thing has replaced it, and payday loans.
Well, the payday loans and all
different predatory things have replaced it.
Yes.
Right.
So,
but also you think now today things that people own have no value.
Yeah.
In the 80s, if you had a television, it was worth something. Today, if I brought you a 65-inch television, you'd be like, "I'll lend you $5."
Yeah.
Right? Because it's not worth anything.
$200 or
it'll cost you more to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And the same thing, unless they're getting titles on cars, like those people that borrow against car titles, that's the only thing of real value that a lot of people have.
Is the vehicle? Yep.
Is the vehicle, because that still has some intrinsic value.
Yep.
But possession wise, everything's disposable now, so nothing's worth anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very
Right?
true.
Like, you can't go in and like, all right, I'll give you my cell phone.
Now I do have something that's got a high value that I.
Oh, let's show us what it is you got.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, guys.
One of those pet radios. Yeah.
Yep.
I had one that was orange, I think.
Yep. I had one of
and the
these when I was
chain.
a child.
Yeah. The
In
chain
the
on
70s.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, the chain's missing from this one.
What did the chain do?
It was just part of
It
it.
had a
'cause it's
ring. You
pet.
could hold it from it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like a
Like
a leash
Okay.
for your
Gotcha.
pet radio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to
Yeah,
start
this is
Eric's going to start the
precursor to
bidding.
the Pet Rock.
Eric's going to
Music.
start the bidding at $55.
Yeah.
Eric.
And it works. And this is the early AM model, which is what I had. So it just does AM. So I'm going to throw a 555 timer circuit together and have an AM transmitter for it.
Cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you picked that up where? Locally?
No, I took my wife on her birthday to Grand Rapids. It's about a 2-hour drive from here.
Wait, hold on. You took your wife on her birthday and you got a present.
This was what I found at the antique store. She loves antiquing for Hall China.
Yep.
I asked her what she'd like to do for her birthday. That's what she mentioned. I said, let's find a place you haven't been, because she's already stripped every local place of all their Hall China. She's got about 1,000 pieces.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
But she found several things. Kind of a meta layer. Now she's getting into, you had the box. Those are worth something. People like the box for them, obviously.
See? Just like we were talking about.
She found some Hall China that was available at conventions. So Hall would have a convention, and they provided China that was dated for the year of the convention and stuff. And that's where she's at now. She has almost everything else.
Wow.
Neat.
Awesome. Very cool. So I guess that brings us to our next segment. Has anyone got any gets this week they want to show off?
Sure.
Can anybody beat the exploding thing from Star Wars? The what do they call it? The something
Death
detonator. Thermal detonator.
Yeah, the
Thermal
thermal
detonator.
detonator. It's about the size.
Yeah. There you go. What Joe said to you, Eric. The next time your wife says, "What's this old Mac?" you just say, "Hall China."
Yeah.
This is the Hall edition.
Right.
All right, Ron, you got something there you want to show off?
Yeah, I do. As a matter of fact, hold tight. I gotta get it up here. All right, you ready?
Yep.
This is my early Mac 128 board. I picked up a Mac 128 at VCF Midwest this year, and I hadn't really done a whole lot with it. I opened it up, just to inspect it to make sure that it did indeed have a 128K board in it, and it does. Yep. This is the one that even predates when because it's got the older CPU in it that actually has Apple branding on it.
Cool.
Predates the later 512 model and all that. This one and it has bad RAM. So imagine that it's got MT RAM.
Imagine
in it. Imagine
would have
that.
guessed.
Yeah. So I've got to replace the RAM in it. But then hopefully it'll be up and running.
Now, how much RAM does it have, Ron?
It's 128 kilobytes. So, but no, this is my machine. It's pretty cool. It boots up in SAD Max for you.
Now, how did you boot it up outside of a case?
Oh, it's really neat. It's this cool thing you pick up over at jcm-1.com. It's called the SE Mini, but it actually here's the pan as printed by Gut Bomb. It's whoops, I'm sliding stuff around here. It actually fits, and there will be a small or a different back plane and stuff, which Gut Bomb's still working on. But yeah, it just sits inside there, and then you can use There are a couple of different boards. There's a place for a speaker. There's a place for like an RGB to HDMI, which I guess is now deprecated because I've got some other boards that actually let you just. It's too far away. I can't really get to it, but yeah, just modern VGA output and all that type of stuff. But I've got the machine over there too. The neat part about it is, I think this is like the 30. It's the low 3000s. But the plus version will have a different backplane and things like that. But hopefully he'll have a 128 512K version as well. And yeah. It's pretty cool, but this specific board, this specific Mac I bought, it's in the low 3000s of machines that were produced. So yeah, it's really early.
Cool. And did you know that when you got it at VCF Midwest?
I didn't check the serial number. I just looked at the board and could just visually identify that it was an early one.
Cool.
And I was like, that's good enough.
All right, Frank, I believe you are next for Gets this week.
I think I already shared this stuff at the beginning of the stream.
No, you didn't. Didn't you have some Gateway computers?
That was pre-stream.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I got a couple Gateway 2000 color books.
Ooh, not to be confused with the Power Book.
That's right.
From Apple.
Color.
Totally different. Way better. The Gateway is way better.
This one has Windows 95 on it.
Like you would.
I think that it's the reason I like these. I think it's so cool. The mouse actually pulls out of the front, and there's a little trackball.
You get to finger the nipple on the top. Gotcha.
Yeah, so it doesn't have like the IBMs have the little nipple in the middle of the thing. This one actually has a pull-out trackpad. So hang on, it's angry.
Does it actually boot?
Yeah.
I mean, the battery works?
No, I have it plugged in.
Oh, I thought the battery worked. So I was like, wow, that's really impressive.
Hang on. Now, the potentiometer for the brightness is crap. So,
no, Gateway wouldn't have made a piece of crap computer. That wouldn't happen. No.
Very cool. You can see it.
Yeah.
Give it a second.
Come on, Windows loading screen.
Skip the memory test. Hang on.
Come on, old crappy ID hard drive.
Let's boot it up. But yeah, it's got the original drive. You can hear it clicking and all.
It's saying, kill me. Kill me.
Windows 95.
Wow. They got that on their computers now. I can just see how terrible that passive matrix screen is.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That's
Mouse tail is going to go so bad.
See, it boots up just as quickly as my Mac Studio.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you should just get rid of all your computers and run this as your daily and run all your business through it.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
He has to do it at least once, right?
Yeah.
Frank?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for the tax write-off. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, it works. The only thing I was disappointed was when I went to the start menu,
It's a Gateway.
games installed.
No games.
No Solitaire, no Minesweeper, none of that stuff.
Now, they were, correct me if I'm wrong, were they not specific to an extra installation on Windows 95? Or was that
No.
the
Or
Pro?
I don't know.
Or was that when you went to the professional version, you could strip it out during the installation?
I don't recall that being an installation option that early.
Okay.
I know on 98 it was. Like, you can uncheck it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause I remember, like, we had Windows 2000 machines that we set up for clients that there was an option to remove the games during or it was like a slipstream option to remove the games during install.
I got this giant Amiga gamepad.
It's awesome. I'm surprised you said gamepad and Javier didn't appear. I mean, he appeared earlier, but maybe he's still here. Right?
He started streaming at 9, I think it was.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Let's see. Yeah, here's the second one here. It doesn't have the hard drive. Now, this one's a 486DX4, 75 megahertz with 12 megs of RAM.
Nice.
Nice.
Does it have the FPU?
This one, I think, does, yes.
Oh, cool.
Now, like I said, the battery, I took out the battery already, but I have the drive caddy and stuff put back in here. I'm going to put it on.
So what's the plan?
CF card adapter.
What's the plan for them?
Well, this one's got 95. That one's going to have 98. I have one coming that's got ME actually natively installed. Like it was the factory image on that machine.
You are a glutton for punishment, sir.
So yeah, so I'm going to mess around with them a little bit.
Cool.
Trying to think. I've been busy working on this side of the building.
Yes, the new room, yes.
Which is now pretty close to done. I've got a lot of furniture to still assemble. And I've got some electrical still to do. And I have one more of these suspended light to put up. I've got the one on this side, but I don't have the one on the other side of the room here set up yet. And then the plan is during the summer, that other side's going to get gutted, and it's going to get the same exact thing, this pine tongue and groove and the same flooring.
Nice.
That way they'll both match.
That's awesome.
But that'll still be work area and storage on that side, and then this will be, I'm going to try and keep this clean for display and streaming.
So you've fully embraced the beige.
I have. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm not staining or doing any type of finish on the pine. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. I think it looks nice. Tongue in groove, yes. Tongue in groove.
Oh, Joe, you're incorrigible.
Trying to think of what else I got. I got some MacBook Airs that came in today from Goldie. I have a couple of Amiga motherboards that came in.
Did you say Egon motherboards or Amiga motherboards?
Amiga motherboards. I have two Amiga 500 motherboards that just came in, but I've got this today.
Ooh.
An Atari Mega SPE.
Nice.
So this one is a working one. This one came from Canada.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you.
We're sorry.
In Canada. But yeah, it just came in today's mail.
Neat.
That's a tiny keyboard tray in the front.
Yeah. Super tiny keyboard tray.
Not ergonomic.
No. So the Atari STs, like even the Atari ST Mega 4 that I have, they use that same telephone style, the RJ11 keyboard cable. So, but yeah, this one works.
I have to tell everybody out there, it's not wired the same, much like the Apple is not
No,
wired the same.
definitely
So
not.
do not take a telephone curly cord and plug it into your Apple and then plug it
Yeah,
into
no,
your
no.
You
Good
will
way to have a
destroy.
bad time. Yeah.
However, apparently at some point in the future, Joe from Joe's Computer Museum will have a fix for that particular problem.
Oh, an adapter doodle.
No, a replacement thing for what you burn out in those keyboards.
Oh,
I've got a bunch of them that are all burnt out.
But yeah, I think that's it. I've been pretty busy on this stuff, getting this wrapped up because I took today off and stuff too to try and wrap this up. I got the rest of the flooring put in today and all the trim done and cleaned up enough that I was able to stream out here on this side. So yeah.
Cool. All right, is that all your gets?
That's all I got.
All right, I will do a quick gets. Hello, everyone. I got a gift from Frank today in the mail.
Yay.
A special Amiga 500. That is a PAL edition, so it plays all the PAL and European titles.
Nice.
So that'll be fun. I'm excited about that. What else did I get from Frank? I got this from Frank as well. Oh no, that's not there. Where'd it go? Oh, it's up here.
Up top. Yep. I was going to say, hang on. I see it up top.
A nice little Dell mini form factor computer. These are great. If you've never experienced these, either Lenovo, Dell, or HP, they all make a very similar form factor. They're fantastic little machines for any sort of project, home server, emulation workstation, general use workstation. Highly recommend them. And then, of course, I've also got a letter in the mail today from Rudy. Hey, I got one of those from Frank, too. The Amiga 500 or the Dell?
The Amiga 500.
Tiny computers are great. I agree. Speaking of tiny, I got a couple of things from Rudy in the mail today, a pair of things. Rudy sent me a pair of these tiny comp boards, which you can find on jcm-1.com. These are fantastic for converting the Atari 2600 from RF to composite correct? RF2 console, yeah. So yeah, he sent me the boards. I'm going to go and get the components for it. And I have a friend who has an Atari 2600 that they are trying to hook up to a modern TV. So this way we'll be able to do that for them and put it through a scaler to make it look nice. And yeah, should be fun. Cool. Well, I think that's everything. I don't know if anybody has anything else they want to discuss. We're just over an hour and 15 minutes here now.
Just one thing I forgot.
Oh,
I received this in the mail the other day.
Yeah.
An official iMark.
Yes.
Yes. I don't even have an official iMark sticker. Well, actually, that's a lie. I might have an iMark sticker. No, I don't. Mark, give me a sticker. If you gave me one already, give me another one because I've lost it. I will add it to my OSI computer of stickers, which is right here.
Yeah, and if anybody is interested at all in some of my stickers, I did get some new ones recently. This is Bill Atkinson,
the father of HyperCard.
Yes, and he knows HyperCard.
He does know HyperCard.
That sticker's available, and of course my sticker for my game.
I really need one of those.
Yep, and I have international stamps, Ryan. I could send you.
You know my address.
And then there's the old classic "Scare Your Children" and get rid of rodents sticker.
Terrifying Santa Claus.
Yes. So just drop me a direct message. Give me your address. I'll send them.
Frank, thanks for muting your mic while you were tearing bubble wrap. Probably one of my all-time most hated sounds. That and taking wet cotton out of the washer. That the noise of wet cotton. Ooh, just right through me. Like this shirt, for example, I can't take it out of the washer. It drives me mental. Anyway, enough of my weird ailments, I guess. Anybody have anything else? We'll wrap this up and thank everybody for joining us this evening. All right, well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We always appreciate that you spend your Friday evenings with us. We know you have your choice in Friday evening entertainment. We're just glad it's not with Steve Urkel. It's with us. If you want to hit that like button, feel free to do. You don't have to hit the subscribe, but if you do, that's awesome too. We do this once a week, and we appreciate you being here. Any words of wisdom from anyone this evening?
Tip your waitress and push the fish. It's about to turn.
That's right.
All right. You heard it here first, guys. Have a fantastic evening, and we'll see you next week. Bye.